The marathon's a weird thing. For some people, it's a lifelong achievement. For some people, it's the profession. And for some people, it's just a random Sunday morning. For me, I work a 9 to 5 and I've just got a passion for fitness and I've got a raging appetite that resembles something of a wild boar. So I just need to try and burn off the calories that I eat. Running kind of works in well with that because you burn quite a lot from it. It went from gym to circuits to running, which has now led us to being able to run 3 in 3 weeks. In this video, I break down how I was able to run 3 marathons in 3 weeks, Milan, Manchester and London. I'll share what worked, what didn't, what lessons I took away from it, so that if you are thinking about running a marathon yourself, then hopefully this will help you. Marathon number 1, Manchester. No, fucking idiot. Marathon number 1, Milan. There's a video on the channel that shows the specific training plan that I did to go from a 3:37 marathon to a 3:08 marathon in a year. Then have a look here. But before I did go into the specific training plan for Milan, I'd already done the marathon distance a few times before. I think if you are getting into running, it would be good to build an aerobic base first before you think about running a marathon. The first marathon I did was maybe 2 years prior to this, and I gave myself 12 weeks to do it. Granted, I did cover the distance, I walked, my body was not ready for it whatsoever. So the more time you can give yourself to train for a marathon, the more prepared you're going to be. But then also, don't stress too much about not being prepared because you're only going to be as prepared as you've allowed yourself to be. It's just how the cards have been dealt. For Milan, I wore these Nike Alpha Flies, widely regarded as the best marathon shoe out there at the minute. I can't fault them. They're very loud, like you can hear them coming, and I think you know the sound of an Alpha Fly. Milan is a very flat course. It's definitely a PB course. The only elevation that we actually dealt with was going over a footbridge. But in terms of that, there's not a great deal. Marathon number 2, Manchester. This one, I finished work Friday night with the intention of having a nice chilled weekend. From setting off to work to getting home, my mate said that he needed someone to step in, so I just thought, we'll have a go. In that race, I wore these, Nike Vomeros. They've since been through the washing machine, but these are one of the best shoes on the market in terms of easy run. So the plan was to wear these to stop myself from getting carried away and trying to run faster. That lasted all of about 3 kilometers. Ended up doing a 3:25 for this one. If you're getting into running, I would definitely recommend these because they're very good at protecting your feet from the impact from the floor. And if you look, I've done, I want to say about 700 kilometers in these, and there's still plenty of tread left on bottom. The time obviously wasn't as quick as Milan, but if you're training in that lactic threshold window, you're not going to be having a good time anyway. So because I'd slowed my pace down a bit for this race, I was able to actually enjoy myself a bit more, and I was just running around with camera just like... You'll see on full video, but I had a really good time with that. Marathon number 3, London, in reverse at night. Obviously not running backwards, but running it in reverse. I ran the course backwards. If you're not aware, it's a free to enter event. You literally just show up to Trafalgar Square at 11 o'clock the night before London Marathon. Keep freezing. And you can do the whole thing backwards on the course. Obviously just bear in mind that there is traffic. There's traffic up running track. Man like men. For London, I wore these Puma DV8 Nitro 3s. They've got a carbon plate in them. I also did Leeds Marathon in these last year. So I wore these 3 shoes, and honestly, I'm just trying to think then, how would I compare them? And fundamentally, they're just shoes, but they've all got different uses. These are quite snappy, they're fast, and there's not much tread going off at the bottom. Normally they use these for like my speed sessions, so like on the treadmill, running track, any form of faster running training, because they have got a carbon plate. These are like donkeys, they're just used for mileage, and they'll handle everything that you throw at it. And then these are marathon specific. I'd say, to be honest, you don't necessarily need those. I was just trying to extract everything I think I possibly could from Milan.
Show 'em what fucking Doncaster is!
I think it is good to have 2 pairs of shoes, a faster shoe and a recovery shoe. It'll also prolong the life because if you're using these for every session, you're putting more mileage on it. Whereas if you distribute that to 2, you're kind of theoretically halving it. I've also uploaded the full video for London on short form. If you also want to have a look at that experience, then there's a link in the description, or just go on any of my social media pages, you'll see them.
Go on, Batman, get in there.
Fueling. So for each marathon, I used energy gels. I used Strike, I'm going to try and pronounce it. It looks like Striker, but there's no vowels in it. It's just Styker. But you can get some of those which have 50 grams of carbs in each gel. I'm 5'11" and I'm 76 kilos, so I aimed for 60 grams of carbs an hour. For Milan, it was one of those gels every 40 minutes. For Manchester and London, I had the High 5 gels, which is 25 grams of carbs. I had one of those every half an hour. Obviously, you need to train your stomach for this sort of stuff. So I also popped Imodiums because it just stops things from happening. If you do want to drop some Imodiums on your marathon race while you're using gels, just bear in mind that Imodiums do work, and I didn't see the toilet for 4 days after finishing. So for during, I had the gels. For the time leading up to it, I focused on dry carbohydrates. For Milan, I had a loaf of bread with jam. We'll try a bit. No. 2's on this slice of bread. For London, I had a pack of 5 New York bagels with some honey driving down. So yeah, on the few days leading up to the marathon race, you want to focus on dropping protein, increasing carbohydrates, because you don't really need protein for your race. There are videos out there that go into specifically how much you need, but I was focused on listening to my body. And do you know, like when you eat something and you just feel like, ooh. For me, that's what you want to feel like the night before. It means that you've got all this stuff in your system ready to go. Hydration. I've never cramped running a marathon. And the reason for that is because when you're cramping up, it just means that your body's depleted. To stay on top of hydration, I run around with sachets of electrolytes. You can put them in a bottle if you want, but for me, it saves space if you put them in your running belt. Maybe try a few leading up to the race to see which ones work for you, but for me, I like Liquid IV. They do cost more than the tablets, but I notice a greater difference taking the salt sticks than I do the tablets. I'd recommend salt sticks, but it's up to you, whatever works for you. If it's an organised marathon, they have water stations. So all you need to do is grab some water from an aid station, pour your salt stick in, you're good to go. I would probably recommend doing a bit of research before you do your race and understand if it's cups or bottles, because trying to drink from a cup while running makes it 10 times harder because it just adds something to the list for you to try and think about. Whereas if you're drinking from a bottle, it's not a great deal of admin. While you can do all the physical training that you want, come race day, I think it comes down to a belief, and you've got to tell yourself in here that you can do it, because if you go at something and you start projecting that you can't do it, self-fulfilling prophecies happen regardless if they're positive or negative. So if you speak negatively of situations, you're going to be looking for ways to justify that that thing isn't going to happen. Whereas if you just keep saying, I can do it, I'm still breathing, I'm still moving, I'm hydrated, I'm fueled up, I'm still moving, I'm fine. If you just catch it before it starts spiralling that way, send it that way instead. Obviously, don't ignore injury. If you rupture a knee or something, that might be a reason for you to ease off a bit or stop completely. In that run, you're not out of breath, you're still able to put one foot in front of the other. Yes, your speed might not be where you want it to be, but you will get it done. Frame it in a positive light. You might be in pain, you might be struggling, but it's a privilege for you to be in that position. Some people aren't lucky enough to be in that position. Some people will never get to that position in their life. You've put all the work in to get to that point. Enjoy it. Instead of viewing it as something that you have to do, view it as something that you get to do. Out of the 3, I would say I'm most proud of Milan, because I stuck to a training plan and I think I managed to knock about 1 hour and 20 from my first to my most current marathon. And I don't know about you, but I don't stop to look back at like the progress that you've made. For me, Milan was that sort of moment. Manchester, because I wasn't in that lactic acid zone, it was like a manageable discomfort. I was able to enjoy it more.
Yeah, buddy, keep it up.
Thank you. And then for London, it was a completely different dynamic altogether, because I finished at 4 o'clock in the morning. There was no one around apart from me and the guy that I was running with. We're just like, right, that were it. It's popped up on your watch saying 42.2, and then you just call it a day. So to conclude, if you want to run a marathon, build an aerobic base, give yourself the most time you can to run that marathon, and then come race day, don't be disheartened or don't think about that, oh, I'm not prepared for this, because I've just got to work with the cards that we're dealt with. If it does come to marathon race day and you're going to think anything, just think, I'm here to enjoy this, I've put in the work, you've earned the right to be in the pain cave. My first marathon, 4 hours 27, most recent marathon, 3 hours 8. If you stick at something for long enough, you will make progress. Hopefully you can take something from this video. Let this be a sign for you to book that marathon. Don't be disheartened by the time that you do get. Don't compare yourself to anyone else apart from the past version of yourself.